Jayson Tatum's bone bruise is called severe. We'll get into what that means and the physicality of this series, plus getting more openings for Kristaps Porzingis. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Being down, be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Back to back, if I say it, it's stamped. Locked on number 19, the best one, the next one. Juice loose in your pool now for the next run. It's the C's, who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Best daily pod, no cap like Brad Beckett. Plus like Drew to KP, tap in daily. Prime time, dapping D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
There, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered Monday through Friday. Bonus podcasts like this Friday night when the Celtics play in Orlando, Game 3. I am here in Orlando. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see I'm sitting on this wonderful couch at my hotel here to cover Game 3 in person for you. So this is all in-depth, in-person coverage. So make sure you're subscribed to get it dropped directly to your device. You can watch the show on YouTube. Obviously, get into the comment section, share your thoughts with me, John Karalis, a beat writer for Boston Sports Journal, and also I've been covering this team for about 20 years now. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Later on, we'll get into Kristaps Porzingis and keys for Game 3, but we want to start with Jayson Tatum and the wrist, and I want to bring in Tom Westerholm. Whoops, there we go. Tom Westerholm in and out, and now he's back in. Tom, how you doing, buddy?
I feel like I just got pump faked.
That's right.
I feel like I was. That's what a pump fake, when you are actually a pump fake, that's what it feels like.
So Jayson Tatum's wrist injury, the bone bruise, was called severe by Joe Mazzulla on the radio. Now, I don't know what that necessarily means for. I think when it comes to a bone bruise, like any injury, there's like a grade, and this may be the highest grade. And what it means is probably that he's just going to be in pain for a while.
Yeah.
So I guess that opens up the question of how much is he going to play in this series, considering how this series is going. I think there is a real question here for Joe Mazzulla. He's, first of all, Tatum listed as doubtful for Game 3. People were saying this about Jaylen coming in. They're like, just sit him. He doesn't need to play in this series. Just sit him. And now Jaylen looks good, and it's like, well, okay, Jaylen looks good. Just sit Tatum. Just sit him. And so I feel like, considering that Orlando came to Boston, played kind of their game for probably like 70% of the first two games and still couldn't win, I think the Celtics feel good about where they are.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we hopped on. My big proposal, so you got Tatum out, and you still won Game 2. Sit Jaylen in Game 3 and Tatum. Sit them both. See if you win Game 3. If you win Game 3, sit Porzingis down. Like, give it a shot. Like, you never know. Like, how much blood can one man lose? Like, you can't, you gotta protect your guys a little bit.
Test the limits. Test the limits.
No, I think I agree with you completely. I think that, we've seen even, Game 1, right? Huge Paolo Banchero game. Like bad-ish, like Tatum game, bad-ish Jaylen game, real bad Porzingis game, and they still come out with a win. Game 2, Tatum doesn't even play. Like you said, the pace is pretty favorable to Orlando. Celtics still win. This is, I think do what you got to do in this series. We talked before this series about should the Celtics, should they shorten their rotation, or should they, stick with a regular season rotation, and kind of, a lot of guys are getting out there. You know what I mean? Like this is not a 7-man rotation at this present juncture. I think the Celtics can kind of do what they need to do, come out of this series with a win, whether that's in 4 games, whether they, let one slip and come out in 5. I think they'll be all right. I think it's much more important that everybody is healthy for the next series, and far more important, if the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla would hate to hear us talking like this, but like, if we feel relatively comfortable that the Celtics are going to get through the next series as well, it's so much more important that the Celtics are healthy late May, early June than that they're healthy, than that everybody is playing playoff minutes right now. So yeah, no, I think keep resting whoever needs to rest, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I think this game 3, this is Orlando's chance, right? This is how it always goes.
Yes.
You're down 2-0 or you're down 0-2, and you're going home, and no one expects much. But Orlando expects to be competitive, and from their perspective, they sit there and they all right, hey, look, man, we played our game. We didn't get anything from KCP. We didn't get anything from our role players. As I said in yesterday's podcast, the other guy brigade, everyone else for Boston has been winning this series. Tatum and Brown have done their thing. Well, Tatum didn't have the best game 1. Brown did his thing in game 2, but they have found a way to match close enough to what Banchero and Wagner are doing. But whatever Banchero and Wagner are doing, they're not getting enough from everybody else. Like, they're combining for 50, 60 points and barely fighting to get to 100. Yeah. That's tough. And so I feel like the Celtics can if they can withstand an early run, like this might be the game where KCP goes off and hits 4 of 5 from 3, and maybe Cole Anthony gets hot off the bench, and maybe Anthony Black hits a few, and this becomes Orlando's game. And then I don't know, maybe Mazzulla just says, you know what, lean into it. If you're down 20 in the fourth quarter, forget it, just punt it and sit everybody. Don't let them get don't let them get hurt, and come in for game 4 fresh, go home, win it in 5, and be done with it. Everyone was picking Celtics in 5 anyway, so this makes perfect sense considering how physical this game has been, the series has been, and how it feels like the Celtics are like on the verge of a major injury with this series. Like, just pull guys away, and it's, don't put them in that position. You're right. Joe Mazzulla would hate this conversation because it's like running scared. And I'm not trying to run scared. I don't want to run scared, but no. I also don't want the team to be in a position to get hurt. Like, you go out there, you play your game in game 3. And if for some reason their role players are playing great and you're down 20 heading into the 4th, I'm happy with, like, you know what? Here you go, Baylor Shireman, enjoy your playoff minutes. Here you go, Neemias Queta, enjoy your playoff minutes. JD Davison, get a full quarter of playoff time. You go learn. We'll come back on site. We'll take care of this later.
Yeah, the advantage that the Magic have in this series is that there are 0 expectations on them, and they can just play as, and this euphemism is carrying a lot of weight right now, they can play hard and physical. They can do that as hard and physical as they want to play. And it is just kind of is what it is. Like, it doesn't matter to them. It's all just found, anything that any win that they get is found money. So, like, yeah, just they're just gonna play physical. So yeah. So, like, so I mean, that puts the Celtics in a somewhat tougher position, right? Because it's like, like you said, you don't want to sound like you're running scared. You don't want to, if you're the Celtics, you're not scared of the Magic, like the quality of the Magic. You're not scared that they're like, of their talent. Like, they've got some good players, but when Banchero looks like, potentially a really special player, but like, sure, they've got some good players, but you're not scared of their quality as a team. You're scared that that their physical play will affect you a lot deeper in the playoffs, and that would be a shame. But like, that's that's what you get when you draw this particular 7 seed, I guess.
That's right. This is what they got. This is what Orlando has. You go out there and you find the line, you brush it out with your feet, and you're like, watch a baseball game and the batter just wipes out the back of the batter's box. Like that, just find that line, blur it out, and just dare them to call it.
Oh, like soccer when they're going to do a throw in and they just kind of keep inching up the field further and further and further. And finally they throw it like 30 yards ahead. It's like, like, come on. Let's get back to where, so yeah, I think Tatum's going to be dealing with the wrist for a while. Yeah.
It's just a pain management thing. And maybe he gets the pain management shots at some point. I wouldn't mind seeing them just, if they can win game 3, great. Sit them game 4, be done with it. Take that entire week, just rest it, and just be like, hallelujah. You need a little luck. And this, I'm going to head to break with this. The Celtics are going to need a little bit of luck now. They're going to need a little bit of luck, and that luck in the form of the Magic role players continuing to miss shots will be huge. To finish this series in 4, even though I think 5 is fine, to finish it in 4, just that would be even better. Give everybody that extra day of not playing. We'll see how New York and Detroit figure their stuff out. But just if they can handle it and get that little bit of luck of like, yeah, KCP just can't get it going, then fine.
And you cut out 48 minutes of physical play.
That's right. We'll come back. We'll talk more Jaylen Brown. We'll talk about Kristaps Porzingis, the bloody moment, and maybe giving him a chance to bloody the Orlando Magic figuratively. That's next. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. We've all looked at our bank account. We've all looked at it and said, where did the money that I had in there go? But it's, that's part of life. You realize that you've spent too much money, and now you need something like Monarch Money to come in and be your personal CFO that gives you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center, tracks all your accounts, investments, spending all in one place, so you can stop managing your money and start building wealth. You can really realize how much you're spending on little things like food delivery or eating out or something like that. You can budget smarter. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, even plan long-term goals. And if you've got a partner, you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKDOWNNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKDOWNNBA for half off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out our new Locked On Celtics newsletter. Please go subscribe to that at lockedondaily.com. Click on the Locked On Celtics logo. For the next week, if you enter, you have a chance to win one of 3 awesome prizes: a $2,500 Best Buy gift card, a $300 Game Time gift card, or a $200 Fanatics gift card. Just subscribe and you're automatically entered. Plus, you'll get a newsletter Monday through Friday. Celtics NBA coverage. When fantasy comes back, there's fantasy coverage, links to Celtics coverage all over the internet. So go check that out. LockedOnDaily.com. Let's bring Tom Westerholm back in. Jaylen, you're muted, Tom. Jaylen is playing well, but the knee is still a thing. I feel like we're in a spot where he got the shots. The shots are effective. He's fine. But afterwards, everybody's like, did you see how he walked off? He's still moving slowly. Yeah, I saw him. I saw him walk into the media room. He was walking slowly. I also saw everybody walking slowly. Like, I don't want to like speak out of turn, but Derek White after game 1 was walking into the media room slowly, like very slowly, deliberately. All of these guys, I just want to make it clear. When Tom is making the air quotes physical play, he's saying that everybody's getting their butts kicked. They're getting hit over the head with surgical 2x4s. This is just a slugfest. Everybody is in pain. So yes, you are watching Jaylen Brown walking and being like, ugh, but I'm telling you, no one has like jogged briskly into the media room and be like, hey guys, let's chat. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis is close because he's always just kind of like a little upbeat, but most guys are kind of like waddling their way around immediately after a game. So yes, Jaylen's knee is still a thing and it still has to be managed, but I do want to make that clear. I think Jaylen, when I say Jaylen in my headline of Boston Sports Journal, kind of put to rest the questions. Yeah, it's not to say that the knee isn't still a problem. It's just, if you're going to play like this with the knee, whatever the knee situation is, then that puts the questions to rest.
Yeah, I think with Jaylen, I mean, it kind of the thing that remains to be seen is, like, does this affect him some games more than others, right? Like, are there going to be games where it's like extra painful? Probably. That probably is going to be the case.
He's going to take a step somewhere, and it's going to bite him. For sure, that's going to happen.
For sure. Which, incidentally, you talk about guys walking into if anybody's ever spent any time around hoopers, it's like that's how everybody walks. It hurts. When you get done with a game, it's like that's a lot of pounding on
basketball, like NBA playoff basketball.
Yeah, like I mean, they talk about obviously we're early in the playoffs, but a couple rounds from now, everybody's injured. Like everybody's dealing with something that they're not going to tell you about until after the season. And it is what it is. I mean, I think the thing about Jaylen, right, is just like we've talked a lot about this team as a veteran team now. And I think Jaylen yesterday really is like, it's one of those moments. It's like, there's going to be bigger Jaylen Brown moments in these playoffs. There have been much bigger Jaylen Brown moments in the playoffs before, but like, that was just as professional as that's a professional star. That's not just a professional player. That's a professional star. That's a guy who looked at the situation in front of him and said, you know what? We got to win this game. Like we need to go into Orlando up 2-0. He's been the one who's been talking after every chance he gets about like, this Orlando team is good. We got to take them seriously. We got to be better. We've been lucky so far. All this stuff. Like he's the one who's been kind of like leading that charge, in the media. I just think like yesterday's game, he's just that level of like playoff professionalism that the Celtics now have is just very ingrained in them. Jaylen has been in so many of these moments. He knows how to step up in these moments. And that was like the perfect example of it. It's not the biggest game, but it was big. And it was, I don't know, just very impressive. Like playing through pain, playing through whatever. He's just a special player. It was cool to watch. It's cool to think about in the moment as these moments are happening, like, oh yeah, like that was a huge playoff game from Jaylen Brown. It was cool to watch.
And it's like, it's game 2 of the first round. So it's one of like the most forgettable spots in the playoff run. Like if the Celtics win the championship, we're not going to look back on game 2 against Orlando very much, right? In the grand scheme of things, because history erases these these types of things. And we have to go back and remember like, oh, that's right. Like Jaylen was huge in that game. And look, this kind of is like the bigger picture version of my concept of clutch moments don't just happen in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Right. Yes.
The other team goes on runs and you hit a bucket to stop a run, 3 straight baskets in the second quarter. That's clutch. And this is the playoff run version of that, where Tatum is out, he's dealing with the knee. It's mucked up, even though like I talk about the Orlando playing at their pace. They are playing at their pace, even though the Celtics are a slow team. The Celtics are not playing at their tempo, right? The Celtics play with a better tempo, even though they don't use a lot of possessions. They move the ball well, and they haven't even been moving the ball well. So to have somebody like Jaylen, who's like, all right, you know what? I go back to Jayson. I asked him a question the other day. He says, sometimes you just got to beat your matchup. And like, this was the game. Like, that's right. Jaylen just beat his matchup. Forget all of the other stuff. Like this was Orlando's taking all this other stuff away. The Celtics go off on little pockets of runs, but it's not consistent. And there's Jaylen, just first quarter, third quarter, and then it's 12 in the first, 13 in the third, 9 in the fourth. Just finding little ways to be like, you know what? I'm just beating my matchup. and I'm hitting this shot. Jumper, not a jumper, layup, mid-range, whatever it is. This is a clutch performance because it's not that they were going to lose to Orlando. It's that you don't want to extend the series. If the Celtics sweep this series, this game 2 from Jaylen is a monster. It's a monster game because that extra rest that allows everybody to heal. You go back to that game 2 Jaylen had, and you're like, that helped Jayson, helped Jaylen, helped Kristaps, helped all of these guys be ready for this next series. So there's a cascading like clutch effect for Jaylen's game here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The quicker you're done with this series, the better you're set up for the next series. And Jaylen put them in a position without Tatum, no Tatum, like the engine that we always talk about with this team is like Tatum makes everything so much easier for this team. And Jaylen was like, all right, I bet I got it. And brought them one step closer to finishing a series that they really need to be out of as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
He moved them closer to that point. That's
you think about from like,
that's like, I love your point about it all being interconnected. I think that's exactly right. And like, that's why you look at a game like this and you're like, man, Jaylen, that was superstar stuff. That was really good.
Yeah, that really was. Think about like how opposite this was from like a few years ago when they were like losing a game to Atlanta.
Yeah,
that was just like this is the opposite of that.
Yes,
this is a game they could have easily fallen apart in, and it is great. It is great.
They just never even looked like falling apart. They never
once
had that vibe.
I was never concerned.
They weren't perfect. They weren't nothing like that. But it was just they never went to pieces at all. If you're gonna beat this team, you're gonna have to beat them without relying on them falling apart for a lengthy stretch, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Kristaps Porzingis, the bloody Kristaps moment, and keys to Game 3. So Kristaps, I was joking around last night, man. That dude is just. I've never seen anybody happier to bleed than Kristaps Porzingis. He just like loves it, man.
Well, we have seen somebody who's happy to see somebody else bleed, and that's Joe Mazzulla. But yes,
that's right. That's right. So Kristaps keeps having these moments. I'm sure he's like, "This is great. I love it. Stop making me bleed now, though. I'll take. Can we do something else that makes the crowd cheer for me? I would love something else, because I think he's up to 9 stitches. Is it 8 or 9 stitches now? Which I look, as a person who has received, I forget my grand total over my the course of my life, but I think I'm up to like somewhere between 70 and 80 stitches in my career. I can feel the pain of, and I understand, but also I also understand, like, can you not elbow me in the head? Can I escape this? There's not much meat to absorb an elbow here. If you get hit here, that sucker is getting cut open. But for Porzingis, I hope what this does is kind of like prods him a little bit. He's had a tough series. Like, he got to the line a ton and lived at the line and got to 20 points and 10 rebounds, which was huge. But his field goal percentage has been kind of awful. And when we talk about keys to Game 3, I think it would be fantastic if Porzingis can really get going. Like Game 3, if Game 3 is a big Porzingis game and it takes the pressure off of Jaylen, I'm assuming that Jayson doesn't play.
Yeah.
If Porzingis can get out there and hit some of these shots and not play so rushed, I think the physicality bothers him a little bit. If you can find a way to just play a little bit more relaxed, in rhythm, absorbing some of the contact and finishing some of these shots, if he's the one that puts up a 12-point first quarter, then I think the Celtics can win Game 3 and maybe make it comfortable. I think my number one key to Game 3 is get Porzingis some comfortable looks find a way to get him free and get him going.
Yeah, and we saw bits and pieces, I thought, of just ways to that could really get him in those kinds of spots. Like we talked about it before, the Magic have guys, they have size, they have length, they have all that stuff, but like Porzingis is so tall and so long that it often just kind of like doesn't matter. Like you don't have to create very much space for him to get a good three. You don't have to create that much space at the, at the nail or like at the elbow, for him to get those looks. The post ups, they're okay. I think, again, we've talked about this, but like when he gets into the post, it is prime, like whack a guy kind of, like a real opportunity to get some shots in there. But I think that the Celtics have shown a lot of kind of ways that Porzingis could get going. And I concur. I think that getting him going would be really helpful. I think it would open up a lot, a lot of stuff that doesn't, it would open up pockets of the floor that are that like without Tatum in, it's kind of important to get that spacing, to get some of those kind of like one-on-one opportunities. So yeah, no, I think Porzingis is a big key. I think that there's a lot of opportunities to get him looks. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I agree.
I think the other thing I want to see them do, like I think some early offense 3-pointers. When I talk about pushing the pace, I touched on it before. I do have people in the comment section saying like, the Celtics pace is right there with Orlando's. Like Orlando and Boston both play slow, which is true possession wise, but Orlando plays slow. They play slow tempo basketball. Like the Celtics cannot use a lot of possessions, but they play with a good tempo. And there's generally like you start the possession with 18 seconds on the shot clock. You start your actions, you force Orlando to do something, make the right read, get them moving, and find a way to create some advantages. They are going to foul you. You are going to live at the line. So like the Celtics had 82 shot attempts last night, but they shot 30 plus free throws. So really they had like 90 plus possessions or shot attempts. So I feel like keep putting that pressure on, play at a faster tempo. I'll stop using the word pace because people see pace as a certain thing. Play at a better tempo. Play just like you can walk it up a little bit, but then as soon as you get over half court, you guys got to be in your space. You got to be in the right spots. You got to know what you're trying to do right away and just do it and just force Orlando to make decisions. They'll crack. They will crack.
Yes.
So I just want to see them play with a little bit more speed to their offense.
Well, and to the kind of the symbiosis that we were talking about earlier, right? I think that like some of that it starts on the defensive end, right? Like I thought one of the things I liked was when the Celtics yesterday, they really did a few times ramp up the pressure and just try to like force the Magic to play a little bit faster than they wanted to play. And the thing about the Magic is like, they don't have guys who are going to necessarily punish you for that. I think that's a really effective way of getting them uncomfortable and making them crack. I mean, like, like Pritchard, how many good possessions against Paolo Banchero did Pritchard have? It was like, it was more than two. Like it was a few pretty decent moments where he was on Banchero. Yeah. And he like really made him uncomfortable. And I think that's the thing with Orlando, right? It's like, they don't have anybody who's going to repeatedly punish you when you start pressuring them. If you do start pressuring them, then you might, force a miss and get out into your tempo. You might get a steal, get out and transition a little bit, kind of get some of those extra field goal attempts, some of those extra possessions. I think that is another kind of big part of it. It's like, I really liked the way it looked for the Celtics when they started just kind of like ramping up the pressure and make Orlando do some stuff that they aren't quite as comfortable with.
That was going to be the last thing that I want to touch on too, because and I said it last night when the Celtics made their runs and piled up, a 12, 14 point lead. It's because they got stops, they got steals, They were really good. Like Pritchard was great defensively, getting in there, getting his hands on the basketball and forcing just being uncomfortable. And so like the combination of like Holiday and Pritchard just in there, just getting the hands on, like if they're not going to call anything, then go ahead, reach for the ball. Go ahead. And what's the worst that's going to happen? You get a foul call. Okay. Not a big deal. But
and those two guys are so suited for that. Just those like Pritchard, this bowling ball of a human, just like getting everywhere. like Drew Holiday's, like just as strong as you get. Like, yeah, those guys are great for that style of play.
Yeah. So I agree. Like getting in there, forcing them to get uncomfortable, even if it doesn't lead to turnovers, if it leads to misses, something that gets them uncomfortable, especially Banchero, because he's a big dude. Yeah. So, when he puts the ball on the floor, get those little guys, get your arms in there, mess them up. He's not going to.
Yeah. It's like Marcus Smart always used to say, right? That was how he got steals, was he waited for the ball to start bouncing up. It's that's like it goes a lot higher on Banchero than it does against a lot of guys.
That's right. So take advantage of it. Like if he's going to dribble and if he's going to drive, just go in there and like, so what if you help off of a guy? Yeah. So what? Like they're not going to kill you.
Make them
the rest of the series with their shot. Like it's just they are not a good offense, and he's not a great distributor yet. So get in there, especially now. Like this, and this is my final point. Game 3, it's a must win. It's an absolute must win. So Banchero, who is 23, like he's going to want to do it himself. So feel free to help a little bit more off your guy because he's going to want to be like, I got to do this. It's very obvious that after 2 games, you've gotten no help from anybody. So if I'm Banchero, I'm like, all right, time to do this myself. Got to put up a 50 piece. So take advantage of that. Help off of your guy. Swarm him. See if you can force him to. If he can have like 6-7 turnovers, then boom, that's it. You win the game. That's if you can get more than 5 turnovers out of Banchero in game 3, I'll guarantee a Celtics win. Yeah. So that's it. Defense is going to be how it goes. So
yep, agreed. All
right, Tom. Thank you so much. Appreciate you hopping on.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
And I always appreciate everybody listening here. I am here in Orlando. As if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell much different background here. I'm at my hotel, so I will be at Celtics shoot around on Friday morning, Celtics game Friday night, and I will be podcasting, I believe, from the Kia Center Friday night after the game. So make sure you are subscribed. Bonus podcast coming up there. And then another Sunday night game. I'll have Monday's podcast after that. So insider stuff here. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Get into the comment section. It's a great comment section. Lots of great conversations popping up. And I would love it if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.